Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, in part three of our entertainment show each week, we premiere a new TV series or movie that is debuting here in Ireland and the UK, and especially here in Ireland, where Irish eyes are smiling. And up for discussion this week is a new horror movie which hits our screens there on May the 5th throughout cinemas across Ireland. It's called The Curse of Wolf Mountain. It features an all-star cast including Keli Price, Danny Trejo, David Lippier, Karissa Staples, Eddie McClintock, Tobin Bell, and our special guest this evening, the one and only Fernanda Romero, who plays the character Lexi. And Fernanda, first of all, delighted to be joining us from sunny California. I do believe it's a gorgeous day given the backdrop there as you're taking in the sunshine there in the background. Can you tell us about the concept of the Curse of Wolf Mountain and what's it about, Fernanda?
I mean, I can't tell you much about it because I want people to be like, obviously watching this film. But it's a thriller. It's a little bit psychological, puts into place. Lexi it's a very interesting character. I mean, I think she's is the girlfriend. No, we're married. I am married to the lead guy and producer and director, David Lipper. He also plays my husband in the film. So I think Lexi, she's just a good girl, nice, like all teens, very supportive. And she has a sister who is played by Malu Trevejo, and she's just the pain. She's like not a pain, but she's just like younger than her, and she just wants to experiment everything, and she's just like that kind of like, wild, fun child, like careless. And I think my character Lexi is more mature, definitely more like the brains and more like the heart in the relationship between me and my boyfriend, my husband. Yeah.
And Fernanda, can you tell us how the opportunity came about to get involved in the Curse of Wolf Mountain? Was it the original sort of talent audition sort of role? Were you recommended by your agent, or did this opportunity come about you by chance?
Well, absolutely. I did have to audition. One of the producers, who's Keli Price, and also it's in the film, he's the writer of this film, is represented by the same manager. And he was like, talk to my manager, so listen, we're casting for my new film who I wrote, and we're casting for this character, Lexi. I don't know if at that point she was Latina, really. It kind of happened and it felt like I just brought my own flair there. And then that's it. I did the audition and they liked it, which I'm very happy. And then I booked a job. But definitely, I mean, I had to go through the casting process for sure.
And Fernanda, in terms of shooting and the location for this movie, where was it sort of shot, and was it a long sort of production?
I mean, it was very interesting because also like it was hard with COVID. Like, I mean, it wasn't like when it was like all crazy COVID, but we were still having those waves of COVID. So as far as production, it was always like kind of hard to get like, get 3 days tested. And then there's some sexy scenes there, not super crazy, but there's some there that if you are like sharing some like fluids, like a kissing scene, you have to make even like blood test for COVID, so it's like it's very intense. But other than that, everything went smooth. The team is amazing. Everyone that it's involved in that team I really, really love. My director David Lipper, big shout to him. He made me feel so comfortable, so well taken care of. To everybody in the cast. Matt Riff, it's also in the cast, who's funny, and he's like he's getting so big, I feel like, in social media, comedian and touring all over. He's also part of the cast. And so I feel like we were like, from the main cast, we were like at least 6, and we were super tight. Like we were working on this like I can't remember, it was like a whole month, but we were like, it becomes like your little family and you make new friends and it's always so nice. This was for me, I think the fourth time probably working with Danny Trejo. He's been my dad, he's been the evil guy, he's been my dad again, and this one is like, he's not the nicest guy, but it's just so nice to be sharing screen with fellow Latinos that represent, the Hispanic community here in Hollywood. So Danny, I think, is one of them, is one of the pioneers, and it's always so nice because he's the most humble human, like, an actor, and he tells you all these stories, and it's always just that delight to be on set with him.
And Fernanda, you mentioned one legend in Danny Trejo. There's another legend as well in terms of this movie, in terms of Tobin Bell. What was it like working with Tobin? Did you have many sort of scenes or interactions with Tobin Bell?
I don't with Tobin because my character just didn't. I mean, we crossed paths on set, but I wasn't like, my scenes were with him, like with Danny. So, but I mean, he's a legend too, and he has such a huge fan base. Like having both of them in this film is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and Fernanda, you mentioned obviously with horror, you mentioned there, I'm just going to cross on it, you mentioned there sort of themes in terms of adult sort of themes. Is it, dare I say, is it for a mature sort of audience? Would you say it's maybe over 16s in terms of its content in terms of the movie, in terms of, are the scenes a bit of those adult scenes, are they a bit intimate or raunchy?
Crazy. Nothing crazy. There's no nudity, nothing like that. But I mean, I don't have my son watching like all sexy things, like scenes or kissing. He's 5, so it's gonna be almost 5. So I would say like 14 and up for sure.
And in terms of some of the horror scenes and some of the sort of death scenes and the gore, in terms of the
exactly, there's a gore, and like I said, it's more like a psychological thriller because you don't know exactly what is going on. And I think also it's a good topic to be touching here, which is mental health as well. Because I think sometimes, especially with thrillers and everything like this, we do not touch what is the mental health and can do. Because sometimes we just see them on the big screen and we're like, that will never happen. But in reality, you can get to see like a lot of these characters can, be so real that you can always like get to see them in real flesh on the news. So it's quite scary, and that's the beauty with psychological thrillers and good scripts like Keli Price did in this one, that it takes you into a wild ride to make you believe what is real, what is not, what a human is capable of.
And Fernanda, in terms of wardrobe and makeup and sort of costume, that everything that goes into horror, was that sort of fun in terms of creating those sort of horror scenes, in terms of getting dolled up in terms of blood and gore and all the sort of death scenes that do happen in terms of a horror movie? Is that exciting for the as an actress? Do you like sort of playing those sort of scenes in themselves, where your character might meet a sort of fatal demise?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they get complicated. In this one, I did not have crazy stuff or goo all over myself, or prosthetics. Nothing like that was that crazy. I don't want to tell you guys that much, but I had, yes, in the past dealt with a lot of that for sure, and it becomes very complex because you want to make it as real as possible. So to be honest, it's quite uncomfortable. I must say, blood scenes, killings, like all this type of stuff, for me, they're always like a little bit of like, oh no, you know what I mean? I mean, the glamour has to go away. You're just it. The more dust you get is the better. And then more like, just messy, sexy, whatever. But blood, it's very uncomfortable because the way it's made and formulated, it's sometimes very sticky. So it will stick all over you, and then you're like this, and then like you got leaves sticking all over. It's just like, it's just messy that when it's like a wrap, you just want to get into that hot shower and then you're staying for days. So always shooting horror films, I always see them when I'm like, you know, that scene of Carrie with like the whole like blood coming. I'm like, my first thought was like, oh my God, poor thing. Her hair is probably so sticky. And she probably has to be using shaving cream, because shaving cream is one of like the tips that it takes all that redness away. So I'm like, oh man, I always think more of that, the process and the pain that the actors go through it. But you know, we love it, and it's you know, it's work.
And Fernanda, in terms of some of the shooting and the locations, in terms of Wolf Mountain, was an awful lot of offset location? Did you go to a forest somewhere? Or in terms of that, was much of it done within a sort of studio, or were you camped out in a sort of town? And was it all sort of real type of shooting? Was there no green screen used at all within the movie?
It was like we had like a little set where it was a big property. I think it was a ranch here in LA. And then, you know, we're in Los Angeles. There's so many like nice outdoor places. And we were very lucky and grateful to work with a property that it was like already a ranch. And within the ranch had like already like kind of like a studio thing. And then, you know, it had like a huge backyard. So it was pretty easy and comfortable to be shooting, for sure.
And Fernanda Romero, I do believe it's a busy time for you in terms of other projects, and I do believe you're moving to Europe with a friend for your next sort of project and adventure.
Yes, I would love to stay in touch, and like hopefully you can do another write-up for my next movie called Cutthroat. And I'm very, very, very excited about this one. And you know, if you follow me on social media, I'll be sharing when I'm heading there, like end of May. I'll be in Spain, so I'll be in Europe for a while. So I'm super excited because this character, it's a badass girl. Like, yeah, in a way, she's like fighting for her own justice. So it's like bringing that womanhood and just bring her power back. So I really, really, really look forward to shooting this film.
And I suppose, Fernanda Romero, when you're in Spain, you're only a 2-hour flight from Ireland. So obviously there's an opportunity for you once the production
I'll be so
is started.
close, right?
Yeah, there's an opportunity in terms of production, in terms of visiting the Emerald Isle and seeing some of the attractions and delving into 1 or 2 pints of Guinness, dare I say.
Right? Why not? That would be great. I'm down. I am so down, Jim. Well, keep in touch. Who knows? I might check the flights and just grab a plane and go to Ireland. I'm so close.
Why not? Why not? And Fernanda Romero, for the last 30 seconds of the interview, you might enlighten all our viewers, all our listeners again, why they should go to the cinemas in their planes, trains, automobiles, scooters, whatever mode of transport are made of it, get to the cinema, put back the recliner, put their feet up, eat their popcorn, their Maltesers, their Pepsi, drink their Pepsi, put their hands behind their shoulders, watch, dare I say, The Curse of Wolf Mountain. And Fernanda, what's in store for them?
So for me, inviting everybody who's watching this video to watch Wolf Mountain. If you want to have a cool weekend and you want to be like in the psychological thriller and you want to see me on the big screen, watch Wolf Mountain and have a blast. Enjoy your weekend.
Well, we will indeed. And Fernanda Romero, enjoy your weekend in sunny California. Do enjoy yourself. And please God, we'll see you in the Emerald Isle in Ireland in the near future. But for the moment, all the success to you in Wolf Mountain. Keep in touch, and we'll speak again in the near future.
You got it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.